Hello and good afternoon. As you know, yesterday I visited this migrant processing centre which is behind me. It's something I wanted to come down to, I wanted to feel it. I wanted to see where the actual entry point was for the invasion of our country. And boy, did I find it. Yesterday I managed to walk around the whole of this building here and saw the money that is being spent to facilitate the invasion of third world men into our country. Yesterday evening, I was contacted after someone saw my video, someone that used to work here. For 2.5 years, this person worked here. He saw how everything was done. He understands all the processes and saw all the naughty stuff being done. And he sent me some pictures. And by doing that, he sort of proved to me that he actually was employed by Interforce, who are the ones that deal with this and have the contract through the Home Office. After those pictures would get sent to me, I decided to contact him and see if he'd be interested in an interview. I wanted to get a whistleblower's point of view, a very rare occurrence. The reason no one really talks is because they're legally bound not to talk. They have NDAs. If they talk, they could face prison or serious consequences. His NDA had come to an end, so he was willing to talk. The interview you're about to see is me travelling to his home here in Dover and sitting with him and listening to what he had to say. The importance of this video, this interview, is for you to realise that everything that's being said and everything that we believe is happening is actually happening. And it is vital that the British public wake up to what is happening, because soon it will be too late to even do anything. So please watch the interview, make your own mind up, make sure you share it. People need to know. This place behind me is the entry point to the invasion of our country, and it needs to be treated as such. I hope you enjoy the interview. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
I'm very well. I'm very well. I just want to firstly thank you for doing this. I know that we're not going to identify you for obvious reasons. You do live in this area, and I know that you're concerned about that, and that's absolutely fine. We just want to, from us, from patriots, from this country, want to thank you for the story you're about to tell. Number one is you used to work in the migrant facility that I visited yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
First question is, when did you start working there, and how did you get the job?
I started working there at the back end of 2022, and I got the job through Indeed.
Okay, so you mentioned to me earlier that when you applied for the job, it was very vague.
Yeah, so basically all it really says on the application is whether you've got 2 years experience in security, and if you can do a 4-day training course. And all it basically says about the description is you're just transporting people up and down the southeast coast, and that's literally it.
Okay, so then you got the job, you went for the course, and then you realised what you were actually getting involved in. Talk about
that. So yeah, you do all your training, you come through your training, you get down onto site, and then that's when you realise it's the dinghies and that are being brought over by France.
Mm-hmm. So you realised you were working for the company that deal with the migrants here in Dover. The company, you've obviously not been identified, so this is not an issue. So who's the company that you were employed by?
I was employed by Interforce.
Interforce, and that makes sense because that was on the guy's shirt yesterday who I met. You were met yesterday. So they're the company that actually run the facility, is it?
No, it's a home office site.
Okay.
But there's multiple.
So they're the companies. They're a contract based. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you'd been through the training, what was your role?
You're basically there to just facilitate border force and help them out with their duties.
Okay. And what did that entail? Give me a day, an average day of. I mean, you've done it. You did it for. You said you were 22 into 25. And yep. That's not a couple of weeks. That's a good amount of time. Give me an average day.
So the process is they come into the jetty area, up the pontoon, where they then go down the walkway into the red tent, which is just a marquee tent. They're sat down when they're then called up line by line to receive wristbands, and they get a number which stays with them all the way through till Manston, until they leave Manston. And then they then go from there to they go one by one to see a medic, because there's like a med event also down there to just give them a quick check over and things. They then go through the changing area where they're changed, got male changing areas, female changing areas. You give them clothes packs, send them into a booth. They get changed. Basically, you wait outside. This is what we do. They'll come out. They put their property in a box. You don't have to ask them to count their money in front of you, because you're not allowed to touch their money at all. You're not allowed to touch their phone at all. They'll count their money out in front of you, and in some cases, you've got currency that's come from like all over the world. Like they'll have American dollars, they'll have Australian dollars, they'll have currency that's only just gone in circulation, sort of in England, like the new notes and things that come out.
Strange.
Yeah, and then you put their phones go back to them, their money goes back to them. They put it in their pockets. All their other belongings goes into like an evidence bag, and then all goes inside a blue bag. They then go through the final checks, and that's just to make sure they haven't snuck anything on their person or anything, where they get wanted as well. They then get walked across the compound into Jet, where they're sat down again. At this point, there's a counter-terrorist police team down there, and they'll generally start talking to people just to get the gist and things. They might take a few people off to the side to just speak to them and things
So
like
counter-terrorism. So just on that point, so counter-terrorism police are quite active because they're obviously concerned that these men will be part of militias, be part of terrorist organisations, and I'm sure some of them we know they are.
Yeah.
So did that ever worry you guys that you were dealing here with potential terrorists that were just walking into the country?
Yeah, it worries a lot of people, but you're generally just told your job's your job, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to go back a couple of steps in terms of their property that they the clothes that they're given. So as you know, in the UK, if you're a single male and you fall on hard times, you go to the local council and you try and get any sort of housing or any sort of help. You're given a leaflet and sort of told to go to a local church and pick up a food bank. These guys are getting everything straight away.
Yeah. So they get clothes packs. Within the clothes packs, you get a jumper, a t-shirt, trackies. It's basically if anyone's ever seen prison tracksuits. Clean pants, socks, shoes.
How are they turning up when because when I was in France, one of the things that was very surreal to us was that when we went to the beaches, there was a lot of items of clothing which included shoes, trousers, coats, and items, bags, all sorts of. What was your experience with how they arrived? In what condition were these people arriving in?
Oh, they're fairly wet most of the time.
Yeah. But in terms of clothing, were they fully clothed?
Most of them are. Some of them are missing like the odd shoe and things like that. But yeah, they're generally fully clothed. Yeah. Some of them have got waterproofs on. Yeah. A lot of designer clothes.
A lot of designer
as well, like trainers and things, tracksuits. Lots of jewellery as well.
Lots of jewellery.
Most of them.
So did you get the feeling that these men aren't asylum seekers? These men were more chances. I mean, I don't want to put words into your mouth. This is your story, not mine. When you looked at these men and the way they behaved, what did you feel about these men?
I definitely didn't feel like they was running from war zones.
No.
Just for the fact that they was in France. France is not a war zone.
No.
So.
Yes. So in terms of the facilitation of when they get to the English side, it's an orchestrated effort to make sure that they are given everything that they need. And then that goes on to hotel. We'll come on to that. One of the things I want to talk to you about that we spoke about when we first got in contact, I want to talk about the drones. Now, I know that in 2022 there was a report that was published that the UK government spent up to £1 billion on drones. These drones capability of these drones were to go into the Channel and to the beaches of France to basically scour and look for migrants. And before I even told you any of that, you told me about the drones. Now, talk to me about what the drones can do. Talk to me about who can see the drones and how you know about the drones.
The drones are on both sides, so we have them over this side and the French side. They go over the sea and things. They monitor the beaches. I'm not sure who completely controls the drones because we don't see that on site, but there's a app. I'm not too sure what the app's called, but it can basically show you how many people was on the beach. So let's say it's a summer's day, it will say 200 on the beach, and it will say 50 in the water.
So they know.
Yeah, all
They
the force
know.
knows.
They know all the time who's on the beach and who's in the water. So they could easily speak to their counterparts in France and say, "There's 200 males on the beach right now. Go and intercept them and stop them from getting into the water." And the app that you're talking about, who did you see? How did you see that? Who had control of that app at that point for you to see that?
It's border force
So
officers.
it's border force. Okay, so it's border force officers that have access to an app which allows them to basically see exactly what's going on in France, which means that the French know exactly what's going on, which means there is no attempt from the drone's perspective of being used to prevent any of these boats coming over. So, okay, and what else in terms of the drones? So, anything else? Are they used daily? Is it a weekly thing? When are they put in the air?
They're used whenever crossings are being made. So if they're coming over, the drones are up.
So they're up all the time.
Yeah.
So we're spending up to $1 billion taxpayers' money on drone systems that are working to tell the English exactly, the British exactly where the migrants are in the sand, sorry, on the beaches and in the water, and that is just being used to basically work out how many is coming across.
Pretty much.
So you guys can facilitate when they arrive.
Yeah.
That's not how this is supposed to work.
No.
That is crazy. That is insane. So I mean, if anyone, I don't know if you saw it on my YouTube, I discussed this drone. There was this report about the drones, and you've literally just clarified exactly what actually that means, and that is terrible, and that needs to be exposed. And I'm thank you for that part of it. Now, you also said there's other helicopters, planes, and stuff in the air that the border force use. Just talk me through what you've heard.
Yeah, they're again just sent out to surveillance in the seas and things like that, in the channels.
What sort of, is it planes, helicopters? What is it?
It's planes and helicopters.
Yeah, because when we were over there on the beaches, we noticed the plane just keeps circling and circling and circling. So that makes sense. So on every single level, there is an ability to know exactly who's on the beach, exactly how many they are, exactly where they are, and there's no attempt of any sort to try and stop them.
No. And I believe the helicopters and that and the planes are the Coast Guards.
Honestly, it's shocking. It really is shocking, and I'm so glad that we're managing to get this sort of information out. This is very, very important. Now, the terrorism police thing is quite important for me as well, because the reason we have such an issue, and I want to put this point across, we have a huge problem with mass immigration in this country, and actually migrant boats don't make up the vast number of it. It's actually overstays with people like visas. They'll come into the UK with a visa, they'll stay 3 months, their visa will run out, they'll find a dodgy lawyer, the dodgy lawyer will give them a story to tell, and then like, I'm gay or something's happened in my country, and they'll then be given a right to stay. That's something we're looking into. That's a huge part of this mass immigration issue. But the difference between that and what we're talking about here is these men that are coming on the dinghies wouldn't be able to come through the front door the way that these overstayers are. No. These men wouldn't even get in the first place. They would never get through the visa application. They would never get through the checks. So the problem is, the distinction that we need to make between all of this is the fact is that the men that are coming on the vast numbers are coming in and they're being checked. So even though they shouldn't be here, there's some checks going on, and we sort of know who they are. Yeah. The problem with this is that we don't know who they are, where they're coming from, what their intentions are. And clearly the British government, as you've mentioned, the counter-terrorism police are actively interviewing these men, meaning that they know that there's going to be people. Did you ever hear about any fighting, any problems, anything happening on the boat or when they landed, anything like that?
Yeah, there's multiple assaults on the boats on the way over. Multiple occasions where people have been chucked off the boats. There's always a lot of stuff over on the French side in the camps and things, because you got all these people from all over the world. some of them are coming from parts where they generally don't get along, and then they're all in the camps together, they're in the boats together.
Yeah. So they're all fighting amongst each other. And when they land with you guys back then, when you were working with them, did you feel they felt like it was you know, there was no vulnerability? I mean, obviously they're cold, they're wet, whatever, but you know, these are fighting age men from countries you wouldn't even let these men look after your dog, let alone, you know, go be around your daughter. You know, did the staff ever feel threatened by any of these individuals, or were they so thankful that they were landing that they probably didn't do that? I don't know. How did it go?
Not so much the male staff, but you'd have situations with female staff where certain cultures, they don't believe women should be working in certain jobs and things. So when it comes to answering questions and things, they kind of just jog them off, sort of thing, and their attitudes towards them is a bit more like you're a female, sort of thing. But not too much of the men.
Yeah. So which again, it reiterates the fact that these men don't have respect for women, and the cultures they come from are completely so backwards. How can we expect them to live in a Western society when they are coming over with that kind of attitude?
Yeah.
Now you also said, I want to go into something, then I'll come back to it, back to the jetty, but you said that a lot of these migrants aren't actually going all to hotels. You said they go another place as well. Just talk me through. You mentioned something before. Just talk me through where, from what you know, where they go. You know, that part of it. Once they've been processed, where they're going.
So it's kind of into groups. So you've got families, single men and single women. They go to Manston.
What's Manston for anyone who doesn't know?
It's another processing centre in Kent by Ramsgate. I believe it's an old military base or facility or something.
Are they processed there, or are they held there? As in, they sleep there?
They sleep there.
Oh, okay. So it's actually a facility that they sleep in.
Yeah, it's the bigger one. We're only the small one.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and you've got the under 18s, if they are under 18s. They go through an interview with the Home Office. It's normally about a 45-minute interview with the Home Office. They'll get in, or they'll ring up translators so they can get a full conversation, because a lot of people will be adults and will try to say that they're kids. So this is
There's a lot of that. Yeah. So you'll look at them now, say they're 15, you go, they're at least 35.
You're talking, say, if you get a boat of 70 people, at least 20 adult men are going to try and say that they're kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they then processed as kids?
No, they go through to the interview, and then the Home Office generally work out it's not a kid, so they're told you're not a kid, you're going in with the adults. The ones that are confirmed to be under 18, they go to a place called KRU, which I'm not too sure what that is, because even within the companies, everything's hush hush. If you're not in them places,
of course,
you don't. Yeah. And then, so yeah, families, single men, single women, they go to Manston. The kids under 18 go to KRU, and then you get a lot of sick people come over, obviously, and they'll go into isolation. They can have things like scabies,
TB,
monkeypox, TB, diphtheria. The numbers are endless, really. And they go into a isolation when then a local taxi company will be called, could take a couple of hours, and then them ones are taken straight to hotels. So it's actually only the sick ones that go straight to a hotel. The other people have got another process to go through.
So they're transporting the sick ones in local taxis that we all use into hotels around where they could easily spread these diseases.
Yeah.
And we've found evidence of that, because we found the TB tablets on the beach. Insanity. I've actually got goosebumps. That is insanity. And so dangerous for our country. Let's talk about the money. You mentioned when we first got in contact, there was a lot of money in terms of, you know, the facilities or whatever. I don't want to put any words in your mouth. Talk to me about anything to do with what you see about the money side of it, be it running through the system, be it the migrant, be it whatever. Talk to me about the money.
Well, you got the electric bills and that. Obviously, to begin with, it's a site that runs 24/7, because even if there's no boats, there still needs to be security on the outside. So there's always electricity running through the place, because it's manned 24/7. You have the clothes packs and things like that. Again, these clothes packs probably work out to about 70 quid a clothes pack, and then you have shoes.
Each?
Yeah. So they used to, when I stopped working there, they had started taking the labels off, but for a long time they left the labels on, and we had to take them off.
With the
so you would
pricing
see the
labels?
price tags, yeah.
£70
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
And there's thousands of them coming over.
Yeah.
Yet
We
they
have
work.
containers full of them.
Containers full of them.
Yeah.
So Mr. Joe Bloggs, who's fallen on hard times, goes to local council and asks for a bit of help. Can't get anything, any support whatsoever. But we're talking millions.
Yeah.
We're talking millions of taxpayers' money being spent on packs for people that have never contributed to this country, never done anything, and literally turn up with scabies and TB and and as we know now, going on to sexually assault women and children.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, carry on. So money wise, yeah.
And then you have the shoes, the flip flops, blankets. There's if anyone watches the boats when they're brought in, you might see the red blankets. Well, those are just a one-time use thing. They go in the bin. So then you've got to get more out for when the next boat comes in, sort of thing. So they're probably cheaply made, but the scale of them, how many you're giving out, it's going to add up. You've then obviously got food costs, because obviously they're fed and that while they're down there. And then even down to like the coach companies that transport them to the other places. These are just normal coach companies too. They literally just put up a working under the Home Office thing in their front thing, and then if they're not working down there, they'll just go back to like their daily jobs, taking people on holidays or whatever. So they need to be paid. Taxis. So yeah, all the equipment that goes in down there, because obviously like computers, things like that, the fingerprint scanning machines. Yeah, there's just a lot of money that goes through that place.
Millions.
All right, it's got to be.
And it's just, I mean, this has been going on for 20 years.
Yeah. And this is just one. Then you've got Manston.
Yeah.
Then you've got KIU.
Yeah.
Then the hotels.
Oh, it makes you feel sick, really. Yeah. I mean, think what changes could be made in this country with that money that is being spent. So, insanity, absolute insanity. I mean, in terms of the fortification of that place that you worked, where I went yesterday. I mean, it's a fortress. It's an absolute fortress. Talk to me about what happens if some of because it's next to the sea. What happens if any of the fences or anything break?
There has been a couple of occasions where they've blown down in storms, and we just put them back up to our best abilities, and we'll put wooden planks and things up to keep them up.
Mm. So you said that there's a company that made them. Where is the company based?
South Africa.
South Africa. So these are imported. We're not even using our own gear to fortify this stupidity. We're literally probably importing stuff from other countries, which is going to also exacerbate the amount of money that it's going to cost to get this done. So on every level, everything is just money. Have you ever heard or seen any NGOs? These are people like charities, NGOs that work inside these facilities, or have you heard any border force talking to them? I'm interested to find out if there's any connections between these charities in the UK of any sort, or the NGOs.
So I personally haven't heard of any charities in the UK. I've heard about the ones in France, but because you could be around these migrants for hours, and interforce is generally the people that are with them face to face the most, so you generally talk to them. There has been cases, so like there was a woman, she came over with 2 kids. Whoever was kind of rough that day, so general question is, how comes you chose today to come over? And when she told her story back, it turned out that she had been living in France for about 4 years, was married to a French man. Her kids were going to a French school, could speak French and things. And then one day, she said the charity that helped her showed up one day and just said, "You and your kids have got to go to Britain." And this was the first time I realised that it wasn't just the human trafficking gangs that facilitated it.
So what you're saying is that the NGOs and charities are actively participating in bringing people over to the UK.
Yeah, at least in that woman's case. And I spoke to that woman. I was there on a day, so.
Wow. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, we're finding out lots of information about, especially Utopia 56. We've looked at Utopia 56's accounts, and we found that they're paying themselves in wages millions, and I'm talking an eye-watering amount of money. And then when you look at the accounts that actually went to the front line, it's such a minimal amount. But I mean, even 10% of millions is still a large amount of money. That's why they're getting new iPhones. Have you seen that a lot of them are turning up with new phones, new stuff like that?
I'd say 90% of them do come through with phones.
Yeah,
there's only a small percentage of them that don't come through with phones.
And how many, the percentage-wise, when you would categorise how many are men and how many are women, how many men, if it was, is it 90% men? Is it 50% men? What is it that you've seen?
I'd say you've got a boat of 70 people, they can generally fit up to 70 on the bigger dinghies. You might get, say, 2 families, maybe 5 females, the rest will be men.
So it's a very small amount. So that would equivalent to 90% is men, 10% is women and children.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen women and children over there. I've seen there was a time. Also, this is a question someone that obviously that's worked in this. One of the things I find quite ironic is that when we went to the camps, be it the one with the hospital or be it the one by the other hospital, by the other part, what was it? Loon Park, I think it's called. Loon Park. The men were always from the same place. So when we went to the camp one day, they'd all be from Sudan. And they all talk to us in Sudan. Okay. And then we come back the following week and all the Sudanese have gone. And now suddenly they're all from Afghanistan or from. Have you noticed that when the boats come over, that the men are always from the same area?
Yes, but it's.
So how is that? How does that work? If they're all coming over, like you're traveling through Europe in different ways and different, how is it suddenly they're all from one place and they're all from another place? Do you have any idea why?
No, but what I can say, because I worked there for a number of years, it's almost like every 6-7 months it will change. So if you go back to 2022, there was a lot of Albanians, and then after that you get a lot of Afghanistan people and things like that, and then 2024 we had a lot of Taiwanese people come over. So it's like
Taiwanese.
Yeah, they come from all over the place.
This is just an orchestrated invasion of our country, and and I think it's getting out of hand. I mean, you must have seen thousands coming in,
Hundreds of thousands.
Really?
Well, I can see 1,000 in a week. Sometimes in the summer months when it's busy, you can do 1,000 in 24 hours.
God. Okay. Yeah. So the main point I want to make on this as well, because it's very rare to find when someone in your position that willing to talk. Like I said, we're going to keep you completely anonymous. This is not being prevented on any level. That there is no, that you've never. I mean, be honest with me. I know you are. Have you ever heard of anyone saying, "Wow, there's a new system coming in that's going to help prevent them from coming in, or stop the boat, or stop them on the beaches, or stop them at the camps, or stop them, anything"?
No. If anything, I'd say the opposite. Because so in 2024 there was quite a lot of people that fell off the boats, whether they fell off the boat or were pushed. There was a lot of people that drowned. And coming to the end of it, we basically then told to separate the life jackets. So the ones with the CE logo, which means it's health and safety, they've been tested, were then being sent back to France. So in my opinion,
it's sent back to France.
Complete opposite.
So it's basically indulging in heightening the ability for them to come, rather than lowering the ability for them to come.
Yeah. Whereas that could have been a deterrent. So that's why you now see they come over on more hard condition days. Whereas before they'd only come if it was like perfect conditions in the sea. But now they'll come during storms and things.
Insane. So your proof in the pudding really is that all you've seen is this getting worse and worse and worse. Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think they're letting this happen? Do you have any idea?
I have no clue at all. I just see it get worse and worse every year.
Did you ever ask yourself that question in your mind when you were going to work for those years and saying, this isn't right, this isn't normal? Did you ever feel that way? I mean,
yeah, I started to after like the first month of working there, really.
Yeah. Was the money? Do you mind me asking that? Was the money good?
It's $14.50 an hour, so it's better than other security places, but it's not
big money.
No, it's not life changing.
It's not life changing, no. And do they employ outsiders? Not outsiders, that's probably the wrong word. Do they ever? Is it more British and English people that they employ, or do they employ foreigners to work in the jobs? Did you ever work alongside a lot of foreigners to work in jobs?
Interforce, there's probably less English people that work for them. They have a lot of like Gurkhas and things.
Okay.
Slovaks and
who
things like
probably
that.
don't ask a lot of questions.
No.
And just get on with it.
Yeah.
What other companies did you ever? Any companies that you noticed were getting involved in all of this? Obviously, Interforce. Is there any other companies that were involved that you heard of name wise?
So you have Interforce, Border Force, KIU. You've got care and custody, and then there's social services teams as well. I don't know which company they come from. They're just social services. And then again, you've got med events, so
Yeah,
medical people.
yeah. And like you say, a lot of this is. Do you think a lot of this is money motivated? Not for you, not for the ones that are working, not for the ones that are arriving. Well, maybe the ones that are arriving, but for the ones that are in top of these organisations, there's so much money floating around. Do you think it's money motivated?
Oh, definitely. I also believe it's to do with the voting as well,
You think these
because the majority of English is not going to vote for Starmer or Labour anymore. So if he's bringing these people in, it's kind of you scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Give them the ability to vote. And
Yeah.
if you're bringing hundreds of thousands of people in, and when you look at the elections, and it can be swung by 1,000 or 2,000 votes, you only need to put 2,000 or 3,000 migrants in a certain place and tell them to vote Labour, and bang, you're in. I also, have you ever heard of the app that they? One of the things that the dots that we're connecting is to do with the employment of these migrants. I mean, I know this is probably not something you've dealt with because you were in the processing, but did you ever hear about an app that would help them get employment?
No, I never personally heard about that app
No.
until I see your video the other day.
Yeah.
But we have had cases where people have come over and they've asked us for the time and things and how long it's going to take because they have work lined up for like the next morning.
You're joking?
No.
Did you ever see? I mean, you saw a lot of faces. Did you ever see someone twice?
Yeah, a lot of the times with the Albanians, you'd pick up like quite a few times.
So they could be
definitely
probably
seen you
deported for
Yeah.
crimes, or they've done a spell, or they literally just don't want. They know they can't get in through the border, so they just jump on a boat.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a lot? Do you think a lot of this is organised crime, organised gangs?
I think it's part and part. There's a lot of money involved for the gangs and things.
That
But I
everyone's
think
making
there's,
money.
yeah,
Everyone's making a bit of dough. So when everyone's making dough, why would it ever stop?
Yeah.
Unreal. So again, the main point that I'm taking away from this is that we have drones that are being used. So they clearly know from the time they're hitting the beaches or probably leaving the camps exactly where they are. They know how many there is. They could easily talk to the French and say, look, go and get them, stop them from coming. They don't do that. We've got counter-terrorism police who are actively know that there are terrorist or militias members in these groups. And the main point here is that there's nothing actively being done in the UK to prevent these from coming.
I'll say no.
And that's dangerous
It
for the
definitely
future of our country, and very dangerous for the women. I mean, even just today, a man he was arrested and he's now been charged and remanded for the sexual assault, a serious sexual assault in a hotel in Southampton, and so serious that they remanded him. And you said the attitude of these men towards women, you can see why this is happening.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse, I guess.
I guess so.
Is there any more that you would like to add? Is there anything you think we've missed out? Is there anything that you think, that was a shocking, that you feel that we haven't touched on? Obviously, I've only listened to a few of the messages. If you want to talk about anything that you've seen or anything you've heard or anything you want to, please, the mic's yours.
No, I think I got most of the stuff out.
Yeah.
As I said, it's just how it's always been kept so under wraps. If you think about it, it's only started coming out the past few years, but it's been going on for a lot longer than that.
20 years, from what I know, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
So we can categorically say that the French and the British authorities are working hand in hand with any of these gangs, really, to bring the invasion of third world men into our countries, and which is destabilising and will destabilise the country in the future.
It's like with over the French side, if you see on some videos, people will get in the boats, sort the boats out, and then get back out. So in my belief, that's the smuggler, and then they get back onto the beach, but the French don't pick them up either.
They just walk away.
Yeah, and to me, that's got to be the smuggler, because
and why they're not detaining them, why they're not questioning them, why they're not holding them.
Yeah.
They're clearly part of the whole thing. Yeah, it's a scary moment. Again, from us, from the British public, This is rare that people speak out. I know your NDA is finished, so we need to state that legally. You don't have a non-disclosure agreement anymore.
No.
That's finished, so you're able to talk today. I just want to shake your hand. I want to say thank you, and I know that I know that a lot of people will be thanking me as well. We're going to continue, and we're going to make sure that we highlight as much as we can. And as you know, we are going to France on Saturday. We're taking an English and British stand in France. It's a non-violent, non-chaotic way of just making sure they know that we know, just like today, that we know the information. So just for anyone that wants to, come down to Dover on Saturday and take a stand, because if we don't do something, it's just going to get a lot worse. And as someone that's seen it firsthand, I imagine you agree with that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get worse if something isn't done.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, mate. Take care.
Okay.
Yes, I'm as shocked as you are. I knew these things were happening, but I didn't realise that those that work in the facilities know the truth themselves. This is an orchestrated invasion of our nation for many, many reasons, be it money, be it political, be it votes. We have to take a stand. He has put his head above the parapet to make sure that the truth is being told. I want to thank him directly for that interview. And I hope that it's really starting to hit home how important this issue really is. This is a national security risk on so many levels. And like I keep saying, talking on the internet, being comfortable in a digital age has to cease. Action is now the only thing that will potentially turn the tide. I hope to see as many as I can here in Dover on Saturday. And I look forward to also welcoming those in France as well. This is one of the last stands that can be made as British and English men. To the women of England, to the women of Britain, please support your men. Please come to Dover on Saturday and in a peaceful manner, without violence, without chaos, come and stand with the men of England, the men of Britain, who have no choice but take a stand here in Dover and over there in France. Thank you very much, and I hope that this information really does hit home how serious things really are. Thank you.